The conversation continues on Tea or Coffee this morning. We're still looking at facts about job search and recruitment. Our next interesting fact on job search and recruitment: majority of candidates doing job search look for 5 common things in a job offer before accepting it. Now, these 5 common things are salary and compensation, career growth and opportunities, work-life balance, location and commute, and company culture and values. I'll repeat that again. 5 common things people look for before accepting a job: salary and compensation, career growth opportunities, work-life balance, location and commute, and company culture and values. These are actually, even if a person isn't particularly looking at all 5, they are usually probably looking at a minimum of 3. That 3 would probably be salary, location, and work-life balance. Actually, the average. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that the average person looking for a job is looking for a good pay. A company that's that can support their lifestyle. How close is it to home? How much will I be spending on travel and all these kind of things? And then good work-life balance. Like, do I still have time for family? Do I still have time for friends? Do I still have time for that that small business that I'm doing? And then the other 2, which is career growth opportunities and company culture and values, there are things that I feel I would say a lot of people would come as the other options. Good salary, it's close to home, it has a good work-life balance. Okay, so this company, can I actually, as you said, can I actually grow within this company? Can I grow with this company? And what does this company actually stand for? For instance, there are law firms that would do some kind of dodgy cases that will bring in tons of money, while there are other law firms that are very intentional about fighting for justice. So if you are somebody that is into law to make a ton of money, you probably can't work for a law firm that wants to really fight for justice. So you really need to know the company. You need to know so that you don't get, because if you don't know what you're getting yourself into and you put yourself into that situation, you will get frustrated and you will frustrate the job that you're doing, which is not fair, because then you are frustrating your employers. So you really need to know what you're actually getting yourself into, essentially.
There's a local slang or a popular slang that is used amongst us in this climb about jobs. So if somebody, for instance, maybe you're caught slacking on your job and you're not doing what you ought to be doing, and then maybe a conversation comes up about it, then you hear things like, you're the one that wrote, I beg to apply now. So they call 95 or 85 or 86 or whatever time as I beg to apply. Now, when you're writing your application letter, you often say, if you want to sound very polished, you often say something like, dear recruiter, Oluwayemisi Akinwolagbele is my name, and I wish to apply for, I hereby apply.
I hereby apply.
So now, at the end of the day, ask yourself, what are you begging to apply for? And what are you legitimately getting yourself into? So for most people in Lagos, it is commute that comes first. Commute, the compensation, that's the pay. Then, okay, we can still find our balance in between. And you find that companies that don't have the culture of work-life balance are actually cheating themselves. You would say, so I'm trying to remember who hosted that talk on TEDx. It was talking about how, no, it's not TEDx, it's, oh gosh, I remember his name. The name came and then it left again. He was talking about how people I was listening to a podcast. And then he was talking about how companies that don't have good work-life balance, they don't have good company culture, you just realize that people come in to clock in and clock out. So even if they're not doing anything, they would appear busy. You see them plugged in, prattling away at their keyboards, but they're probably just watching a movie, and it is when they see a supervisor coming around, or they just. So there's this thing, of course. There's no way you would use a system, a laptop, a computer that you not know some shortcuts, you know. So sometimes maybe you are watching a movie and then the supervisor is coming, you quickly, you know, change your screen. And then he was saying that those kind of companies will just keep wondering why they are having high overhead costs and they're not really producing or they're not really seeing the effect, you know, of what they do. That because once it is 4:30, maybe they're supposed to resume 8, close by 5. Once it is 4:30, you start seeing people going for bathroom breaks, I mean, come on, company culture. So they're going for bathroom breaks so that they don't have to, they want to pee on company time, they want to eat on company, they want to do everything that they want to do later because there's no work-life balance. But that if you allow for break times, you allow the flexibility of, okay, how easy is this work for you? Just make sure you have good output. Find what's easy for you. And that's why I like how our own work time is structured. For instance, you do tea or coffee in the morning, we resume here for 6. By 2, our work time is complete. So anything you're doing after 2 is just you doing additional, you're just trying to be productive for the next day. And it gives you that sense of, oh, at least I have this time for myself. But the moment you start... and unfortunately, there's a toxic work culture in Lagos. People who don't consider the commute time, the distance and all of that to their jobs, or who just had to take the job under pressure because we just need to, you know, find a source of livelihood. So some people live in very far out places compared to where their jobs are. And then you find them waking up at 3 a.m., trying to get out of their house and out of that vicinity, or else they'll spend 5 hours in traffic for no just cause. And then they leave the house, say 4 a.m. or 4:30 or 5 a.m. just so that they can make an 8 a.m. or a 7 a.m. somewhere. And then you find them rushing through. So that time spent in commuting is already half of your productive thinking time. And then you get to the office tired. Some people get to the office, sleep before they start the day's work.
Just to make, I'm not to trivialize this conversation or anything, but just to make light of the conversation, did you see that tweet where it says, no matter where you work in Lagos, there's someone that always works, lives in Ikorodu. And it just, and it's true. And, you know, and not to make, you know, jest of the situation, but, you know, Ikorodu is quite far from, for instance, a lot of places in Lagos. And surprisingly, and not even surprisingly, not even a surprise at all, there's a lot of beautiful talents in this parts of Lagos that needs to be, for instance, I noticed that most of the media houses on the island, most of their employees rather, are actually coming from the mainland. They're coming from places like, you know, Surulere, from Ikorodu. So the traffic,
you know, yourself, cost of living. You have to find out. I mean, so how would I be earning, say, 200,000 or 150,000, and I'll be living in a house that is, say, 700,000? Exactly. I'm legit working for the landlord or the owner of the house, as it were. So people want to maximize what comes in for them, and that's why you know, this work-life balance, COVID came to teach us a lesson. That you don't necessarily have to sit at a desk to be productive. In fact, there was a research last year that realized that people were more productive, you know, in terms of churning out because especially if there's a system in place for that. And now COVID has taught us that we need to start looking at the new future of work. Although I don't know how that will pan out for media houses in Nigeria yet. All right, we have another fact. Approximately 80% of job seekers, or available jobs rather, are never advertised. Out of those 80%, some try but use platforms that are not well organized and recognized. Some ask friends and colleagues for referrals instead, which is not advisable because 65% of applicants want to look at a career site when researching a company for hire. That's another thing. This is actually new to me. This is interesting to me. So it's not so new, and I understand this fact. Now, you know this thing where companies would rather just headhunt to fill up positions rather than just because they look at the whole process and they're asking themselves, really? And so half of the time, you only get those jobs based on referrals, and sometimes even if the person is not a right fit for the job, but the person can just look the part. Sometimes companies just hire people based on, oh, I know this person's dad, or this person's dad contacted me, referrals like that, or a friend of the company referred this person, or someone I know, my professor in school has this cousin. You know, those kind. So those kind of job head-ons are usually, it's a 50-50 thing. You're taking a chance on it, because you want to take the person, the referee's word for it.
But I've found that some of these things can be quite sentimental.
Yes.
And I think when you're running a business on that kind of value, it can be dangerous, because then you would probably be, overlooking a lot of things because of some sentimental values that is attached to this person that you have employed.
That's why I said 50-50.
Yeah.
I know some people who are like, they don't care. They don't care who referred you. Just get the job done. I mean, the person who referred you is the person. So it's one thing to refer somebody.
Yeah.
It's another thing for you, the person who was referred. It's another thing for you to do the job.
Yeah.
So the kind of training I have the belief system or the mindset that if maybe someone like our boss, maybe the chairman refers me to somebody, I'll do that job like my life, my entire life depends on it. Why? Because I know that whatever I do there, I'm not representing myself anymore. I'm representing this person's, I'm representing my referee, as it were. I'm representing the chairman's value system.
Yeah.
So I don't want a situation whereby anyone will come back to him and say, oh, the person you referred, no. I would rather, in fact, I would do, so my mom has this saying that in business, in life, everywhere, anywhere you go, anywhere you work, if you are called upon to give the value of 5,000, give the value of 50,000, because the value of 50,000 would get you a referral of 50 million. That's the mindset. Put value, just keep adding value. Let that value show so that your referee will not feel ashamed. That's why most people in their CV will just say referees available on request. In fact, some companies would specify the kind of referees they want to see. A past lecturer, a past employer, just because they want to be sure that they are getting like a good referral, not something just random that one random person wrote for you. So companies, some companies also would not put. Now let's go back to companies that don't do their due diligence when it comes to posting job ads. Some companies want to be cheap.
Yeah, it's cost effective.
Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want to spend so much advertising a job, or they feel like if we put it on very recognized platforms, there will be too much people coming in. So let's just put it so that it doesn't look like we didn't. So that it doesn't look like we did not advertise at all.
Yeah.
And the kind of companies that do this have political leanings, because when, especially. We've witnessed government organizations in the Nigerian space do this a lot.
Right.
They would not advertise in mainstream media. Then maybe a couple of weeks or a week or two after they have selected or shortlisted those that they want to see, you now see those adverts. And then when you apply, you hear that the position has been filled. It happens. I mean, someone actually did a report some time ago. I can't remember the year now. I read it about trying to expose the fraud that goes on so why bother advertising when you already have your mindset on who you want to fill the positions with?
Exactly. All right. So the next fact we have is, this one says 75% of employers expect a thank you note following an interview. Okay.
Yeah, you're looking like what? Go ahead.
All right. Have you ever left an interview wishing you'd be more strongly emphasize a certain skill or experience the employer? Okay, I'm going to take that back. So have you ever left an interview wishing you'd more strongly emphasize a certain skill or experience the employer seems to be looking for? A thank you note after an interview gives you the chance to do just that. Aside this, writing a thank you letter after the interview allows you to continue to make a good impression on the potential employer. Okay. Is this like Is this interview etiquette? Because this, I've never heard of this before.
It is actually.
It is interview etiquette to leave a thank you note after an interview?
Yes.
Why?
I did this in 2 places that I worked at.
What exactly are you thankful for?
So I thank you for your time.
Okay. I thank you for my time too. But
so
let's go on.
So this is it. You know that thing I said about cover letters as a window to your person? Like someone just wants to read a short paragraph, 2 short paragraphs about you, the kind of person you are. Then they already form an impression. Oh, this person looks intentional. This person looks like somebody whose head is straight, you know, when it comes to, and then, so when you show up and then you are smiling, you're confident, you speak, you ask your own questions, because another thing you should do is to actually prepare your own question for the recruitment manager. Even if it actually shows them you've done your research. Yeah, it shows them that, okay, this person is, there's nothing as beautiful as matching intention with confidence. It gives you this air of, I would share a funny story with you. Just remind me after the show.
Okay.
I'll share a funny story with you. All
right.
The first time I walked into a newsroom, I was looking, that was when I went to freelance. I was dressed like a manager. I'll share the story later. So back to what I'm saying. A thank you note, I have actually done it twice. The first time I did it to say, oh, thank you so much. And so what happened was someone referred me. My uncle's wife referred me. Then I was in Oshobo. I was trying to move to Lagos.
Right.
So she said, oh, I do know, I have a friend whose sister runs a media outfit. I feel like you should try. And then she recommended me to her friend who recommended me to his sister. And then I got an email, and it was about the time we were running. So we all traveled home for the holidays. There was an event at home, and then they sent an email for me to show up the next Monday, you know, for an interview. Right. But I did not, for the life of me, I did not see the email. Yes, it was my younger sister's wedding. So I didn't see the email. Of course, I was engrossed in running around. And so my aunt, that's my uncle's wife, did say, oh, yeah, see, I was told that they sent you an email about 2 days ago, and you didn't respond. I said I didn't see it. So I went to check, and then I wrote back to say, oh, pardon me, I missed the email. This happened. I've been, you know, I just said, pardon me, I missed the email. I would like to ask if the position is still available and what time you would have me come in, you know, for a conversation. That was how I put it. And then my aunt was like, let me read what you wrote. And then she was like, no, sounds like they are the ones looking for you. And then so she took I would look for that email. She took the email and reconstructed it. Even with me, I felt like,
You are looking for me, go.
And then I sent that. And then almost immediately, I got another email with a rescheduled date for the interview. And then, you know, so by the time I came for the interview, I had to send a thank you note because I felt like I had taken them through too much back and forth. So I sent a thank you note for their time. Thank you for having a conversation with me today. Then I added, I also forgot to mention that I do this, I do this, I do this. Okay. I hope this helps in helping you decide if I am, you know. Okay. So it's like you saying that take a chance on me. Yeah. So then another thing, we are humans. Ade, the impression that you had, maybe if I read your cover letter, I see
That's
you in
why
person.
I'm leaning forward to agreeing with you.
I see you in person. Yeah. I read your cover letter. The impression I have about you in that moment, because you don't know if I am a forgetful person. You don't know if I am one of those flippant people who will just say, oh, okay, it's good, and then I just move on with my life. Or maybe the company has approved that you should be hired, but for some reason, because there's a lot of work on my table, I forget to send you an email, and you sit down there waiting, and you're asking yourself, this company don't want to hire me. But if you send a thank you note, and maybe you were interviewed on a Friday, and by Monday morning, the recruitment manager sees a thank you note. Okay, this guy is like, we agreed that
you're putting them in your,
yeah, you put them, so it helps you know on time. Instead of doing the waiting game, it also helps you to know on time if you are going to be picked or not.
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah.
I mean,
Okay, all right. So I do agree with you. So maybe it can be sent as an email as well, saying thank you for your time.
yeah, it's an email actually.
And then I'm saying that the point really is to say that essentially
To remain in that.
remain in that subconscious,
To plant yourself there.
yeah, and to build further on maybe the skills and some of the experience that you
Yes.
haven't actually mentioned.
Yes.
I'm not even going to. This
When
is
I
the
was
first
going
time
to take
I've come across
when I was going to
interview
take this
etiquette,
job,
yeah.
my previous job was not willing to let me go, and I didn't find out about that until after the interview I did here.
Oh, right.
And I got to work, and they were saying, "Oh no, well, we actually thought about it. We are not accepting your resignation." It was funny. Like, we're not accepting your resignation. Your pay would be raised. My pay was raised that day.
Wow.
My pay was raised. I was promoted.
Yeah.
Because they just wanted me to stay.
Yeah.
And then I said, "I'm sorry.
It's time to go."
But I had to write here to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I may not be able to take the job when I was told to resume because this is currently going on. And I would like to really give them 2 weeks more to balance out before I leave." And I'm so grateful I did, because the response I got here was like, "Oh, take all the time you need, but let us know. We are grateful you told us." I mean, imagine not saying that and just taking for granted that it's a new job. They will take me regardless. It just shows that you have emotional intelligence, really.
Yeah. And good communication skills.
Yes, yes.